Hey everyone, welcome back. Gabriella Huffman here to help you study for your North Carolina real estate exam. We're going to start with Chapter 6. Chapter 6 is talking about land use controls. So in Chapter 1, we briefly read that there are two types of land use controls, public and private. The majority of Chapter 6 is talking about public land use controls, and the very last page is talk about private. So what I did is I just made a summary chart of what you need to know. Public would be master plan. So this would be the city or county literally has a master plan on where they're going to have building placements, green space, noise abatement, circulation of traffic, a plan on what they're going to do when it comes to growth. Zoning, anything in red, you need to make sure you know. Several terminologies, legal non-conforming use, also called grandfathered. Great example in your book about a gas station that was legally established before a rezoning occurred. So now what's around this gas station are residential neighborhoods. So the gas station may continue to operate because it was legally formed before the adoption. So it's a legal non-conforming use because it doesn't currently conform to the use that is now in place. An illegal use would be the opposite of this. A business, let's say it's a commercial business that was placed in a residentially zoned area that was not given permission to be there, so it's illegal. It was not legally established. Subdivision regulations, I have its own slide on. Building codes is a state-wide regulation. So the state of North Carolina has codes in place. The purpose of this is for safety. Septic system, so if the home or lot does not call for connection to city or county, we do have to have some legal way to distribute waste from the home. So your property may ask for it to be on septic. So as a real estate agent, you're going to be asked to look at a septic permit. One of the things you're going to be looking at on the permit is the number of bedrooms. So make sure you know for the test that the septic system, the capacity of that tank applies to the number of bedrooms in the home, not bathrooms. So a good phrase or saying, 2 heads per bed or 2 heartbeats per room. So a 1-bedroom home, for example, the tank should be big enough for 2 people. Flood hazards is a chapter in itself. That'll be chapter 13. We'll wait to talk about that then. Private would be your restrictive covenants, for example, your HOAs that have restrictions. These are private agreements that are developed by the developer. The enforcement may still be on the developer, or maybe they've transferred enforcement to a professional management company. As far as a real estate agent goes, we are supposed to provide these documents, not interpret them, not explain them. That should be done by an attorney. There is no expiration date for covenants. The purpose of these restrictive covenants is to maintain standards and value, and applies only to the subdivision identified, not all surrounding subdivisions. You may have very large neighborhoods that have several HOAs within one neighborhood or restrictive covenants. Therefore, those restrictive covenants will only apply to that particular subdivision in that large neighborhood, not all surrounding subdivisions. And restrictive covenants are appurtenant. We learned that appurtenant means goes with, so it goes with the land. So each new owner or subsequent owner needs to abide by these restrictive covenants. Keep in mind when public and private conflict, the more restrictive of the two will prevail. Subdivision regulation, your book goes into great detail starting on page 116. I recommend you read those following pages. There are actually 7 things that they outlined, but of the 7, 4 of them really you'll see on the test. The first one is the definition of a subdivision. So from here on out, I want you to actually see the word subdivision as it is. You're taking land and dividing it into 2 or more lots. So don't think subdivision as a neighborhood anymore. You are literally subdividing land. When you subdivide land, you need to have the city or county, wherever that land may be located, to approve that. So, what you're going to have done is a survey to make a plat map. This is going to outline, map out your plans, your subdividing of those lots, that plan. So, that preliminary plat map must be approved by the city or county, wherever that property may be located, before you can start advertising those lots for sale, before you can take deposits, before you can put people under contract. That preliminary plat map must be approved. The plat map must be recorded at the Register of Deeds in order to actually close on those lots, meaning conveying title. So please make sure you go back to read the difference between approving and recording of the plat map. Street disclosure law is another material fact. The developer needs to let the future purchasers of that neighborhood know whether the streets are public or privately maintained. Please go back to read those. Streets can start off private and go to public, or be public and then go to private. It can definitely change over time. So just because a street has been built to DOT standards does not mean that the state will take over maintenance. Usually there is a minimum population requirement. That concludes your short takeaways for Chapter 6. This is a very heavy chapter for the test, so please go back and reread everything in there, all the little takeaways in the corner. They're giving you some clues on what may be on the exam. Have a great night.